What an awful way to end the preseason if you're the Washington Commanders. The Commanders just finished 0-3 on this year's preseason. Let's talk about it.
Shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries? Like,
stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty's no beginner. She's confident.
Live from Northwest Stadium, it's your man Juan Gotti. I just watched that embarrassing game, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. It doesn't mean much about the starters, of course, and whatnot, but for the second time this preseason, the Washington Commanders looked borderline unplayable, if you ask me. And I know Dan Quinn has to be fuming at what he saw today. Now, of course, again, I want to proceed with caution. It's none of the starters that played today, but your depth between the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Commanders, there is clearly levels to this type of play on the field that we saw today. I mean, you talk about Dearness Johnson, Cooper Rush. Those are quality players that's playing in the final preseason game. But you look at Washington, they're playing Sam Hartman, who had 3 turnovers today. They're playing the likes of Al Kyle, who had a really good game today, in my opinion. They're playing just random guys. But you look at the Ravens' depth, these are guys that can technically make their 53-man roster. So I think it's levels to the depth, and I think we know that already, though. My biggest issue taken away from today's game. Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you're trying to go to a game, concert, or any live event, SeatGeek is the place to go. I actually got my tickets for week 1 against the New York Giants using SeatGeek, and honestly, I use it for all my event purchases. What I love about SeatGeek is how simple it is to find the best deals. They rate every seat on a scale from green to red. Green means you're getting a great deal. Red means it's a little overpriced. That way you know you're buying with confidence and getting your money's worth. Plus, they even offer protection ticket plans so you don't have to worry about your tickets getting lost or stolen. And the best part about it all is they're hooking y'all up with the code. Use Juan Gotti at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Again, use code Juan Gotti at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. Today's performance was the quarterback play. We have to start there with Sam Hartman and Josh Johnson. I told you all for weeks now, I have not felt comfortable about this quarterback play beyond Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota. And the biggest reason I felt that way is, one, because Sam Hartman has not looked good all preseason. He did not look good in training camp when I seen him in person. Josh Johnson, he's on the last leg of his career. He did not look good as well. But the thing that I think a lot of people aren't realizing, Marcus Mariota is dealing with Achilles tendonitis, meaning that at any point that could start to act up throughout this whole upcoming season, and we're one play away from one of these guys having to be the backup quarterback to Jaden Daniels. So that's a big thing that bothers me, because there's nobody on this roster outside of Jaden and Marcus Mariota that I'm comfortable with having to take snaps under center. Can you imagine if something happens to Marcus Mariota and Sam Hartman has to be the QB2? Just keep that in mind, because there was nothing today, and for that matter, this whole entire preseason that I seen that I like from Marcus Mariota. Excuse me, I can cut that out. That I liked from Sam Hartman. And when it comes to the rest of the game today, we just looked unprepared. We looked like it was a level skill issue, like a real live skill issue between Washington and Baltimore. They looked overmatched. They did not look prepared. They did not look like they were ready to play. But again, I don't want to overdo it, as it's not the starters, but it is something to watch, because a lot of these depth pieces are guys that you're going to have to rely on when it comes to the regular season. These are some of your practice squad players, man, and you want your practice squad to be pretty solid. But I do want to take a pause, and I do want to talk a little bit about some positives. There were very few positives today, but I will say Al Kyle, hopefully I said his name correctly, he was really, really good today. Flying around, making great tackles, really solid in pass coverage. He was one of the few bright spots from today. Another UCLA Bruin like our guy Kane Madrano. So shout out to Al. I would say Kosin Yankov looked pretty solid. So we had one big catch and one of the very few good plays by Sam Hartman today. Crossed the middle and was a huge, huge gain. Luke McCaffrey. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I felt like today was a telltale sign of how they feel about Luke McCaffrey. They gave him every opportunity to prove what he can do, and for the most part, it was kind of average, right? I told you all, I'm in a gray area when it comes to Luke McCaffrey. I think it's too early to give up on him, but for the fans that feel like they are done with Luke McCaffrey, he hasn't done much this preseason and training camp to say, nah, you tripping. If you already given up on Luke McCaffrey and feels like he's nothing special, you're not wrong for that. But me, I'm kind of treading lightly with that because we did spend a 3rd round pick on this guy. We invested a lot in Luke McCaffrey, but he had a few good catches today. This receiving core beyond the starters, man, it's not a pretty sight. I'll be honest with you. Michael Gallup, my guy, I thought he was going to be huge for this team upcoming the year, and he didn't do anything. And now the pass was behind him, and it wasn't really catchable, but it wasn't much that he did at all. Like, I didn't hear his name at all throughout these first 3 preseason games and training camp as well. Ja'Cory Brooks is an interesting one because I think this guy has ultra talent and can do many things for this team and be a part of the low end of this wide receiver room, but you got your quarterbacks that's messing you up. I truly think guys like KJ Osborne and guys like Ja'Cory Brooks suffered from their quarterback play this preseason. I will talk about this as well, something that bothered me, and I don't mean to be too negative, but when you lose 30-3, it's not many positives to take away from this game. But Matt Gay, he started off the game missing a 52-yard field goal, and I don't want to act like that's a gimme, right? But after you already have missed some in other preseason games and you missed some in the training camp practices, you have to be money, and especially when you're standing across from a rookie kicker, Tyler Loop. The Ravens go from Justin Tucker to Tyler Loop, who was absolutely outstanding today, including a 61-yard field goal. Must be nice. And that's where I go to say the skill gap between the Washington Commanders and Baltimore Ravens, bench guys, depth guys, kicker specialists, it's different, man. It is truly different. And we're still light years away from being a final product. But going back to Matt Gay, I don't know if you're comfortable with him being your opening kicker. At this point, you're too late into the preseason with it being over and the season being just 15 days away. He is your starting kicker, and you paid all this money to him. And he did come back and banged home two field goals as well. But you definitely need to be a little bit worried, especially after having the year we had last year with Cade York and so many Austin Seibert and Zane Gonzalez. It's like, can we figure out this kicking situation? I'm definitely a little bit disappointed in the play that I've seen today, but again, it's not anything that should stress you out moving forward. I definitely feel like the Washington Commanders' run defense was a little bit solid, but get this, Cleveland Ferrell was in the game with 2 minutes remaining. Is that a telltale sign about what his future could be in Washington? Because you think about it, Jacob Martin did not suit up today, along with 32 other Washington Commanders players, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste and Von Miller and everyone else a part of that edge rushing room that you already have. Could Cleveland Ferrell be the odd man out? That's an interesting name to keep thinking about. In terms of other guys that I felt like had a solid chance to make this roster, but it's kind of gone down, as Carlin Vigors. He was one of my favorites coming out of camp, but today he continued to struggle, especially on the boundary, especially when it comes to making tackles, and he had a penalty flag earlier, a holding flag. It wasn't really pretty for that aspect. Now, something that was very interesting that I wanted to check out today was the running game. When we traded away Brian Robinson, we assumed Chris Rodriguez were going to get ample opportunities to show what he was capable of today, but they pulled him very, very early. It was a lot of Kaz Allen and Jeremy McNichols and stuff like that, and Demetrius Felton, but I think this run game today showed flashes of what it could potentially be like, especially with C-Rob, of not playing your new running back one, Ja'Cory Krosky-Murdigan, him not suiting up at all tells you a lot of how they view the young fella. But I think the run game is in good hands with a decent showing from C-Rob early on today. Now, speaking of Kaz Allen, again, I don't know how he continues to survive through the years because he provides you nothing, especially on special teams. As a kick returner, didn't really do much. Demetrius Felton had the best return of the day, if you ask me, but on a punt return, it's a quick, fair catch, and it's not really much. So I don't necessarily know if he makes this roster or practice squad. I think he's finally going to be out of here, but he provides you with nothing. I will also say something early on that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was the continuing lack of discipline, right? We had a lot of penalty flags early on today, and it was definitely, a little concerning seeing those because you want to be disciplined. You don't want to give free 5s, 10-yard penalties, especially when you're trying to get off the field early on. So that was a little bit disheartening as well to see from this team. But overall, again, I don't want to stress out too much. Again, a lot of these guys aren't going to make the roster. Tate Martin had a nice catch, not going to make the roster, right? So it's not too serious, but of course, me being who I am, being a fan of this team and being a guy that's going to always keep it real with you, when you lose 30-3, it's not nothing positive to take away from the game. It's very few points. I'm really concerned about this quarterback 3. Are they going to keep 3 or 2 quarterbacks now at this point? After seeing what you saw from Sam Hartman and Josh Johnson, there's no way in heck that you feel comfortable with those 2 guys being your quarterback 3, your emergency quarterback if anything ever happens to your first 2. And again, you look at the situation that we're in with kicker. Are you truly comfortable with Matt Gay? Now, again, I don't expect no changes to be made with him because, again, you paid this guy a lot of money in the offseason to come here, and you didn't bring in no competition for him throughout training camp. And that was my biggest gripe with that move. Since Dustin Hopkins, if you've been around, you've always heard me say, I think competition in training camp is important for kickers, especially if you think a little bit about, is this the guy? Bring in competition so you can make him earn the spot. I don't care if it's a 10-year vet. Bring them in so they can have some way to earn their spot and keep them sharp throughout training camp so you can know what you really have. But for the most part, I'm glad the preseason's over. I'm excited to see what this regular season looks like. I'm excited to see who makes this roster. The final cuts are due by Tuesday. And there's going to be a lot of positive news coming out. There's going to be a lot of negative news coming out surrounding this roster. But again, guys, when Kosin Yankoff is your biggest play, quite frankly, of the game, then you know it's something going on with, especially offensively, man. But as always, me and boy Juan Gotti reporting live from Northwest Stadium. I'll see y'all week 1. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe, easy out there. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.